Not all horror lives in the shadows. Some of it thrives in broad daylight, in homes where laughter once echoed, in neighborhoods where the grass is neatly cut and nothing ever seems out of place. Chantilly, Virginia, a place where life feels predictable, comfortable, safe. This is one of those towns people move to for peace. Just outside the chaos of Washington, D.C., Chantilly is a suburb built on quiet, a place of family barbecues, church gatherings, and long walks through cul-de-sacs. But on one spring evening in May 2025, something shattered, and inside a perfectly ordinary house, a family was torn apart. A quiet house in Chantilly, the call that broke the silence. It was the start of a long weekend, Saturday, May 24th, just before 8 p.m. A 911 call came in from a home on Bromall Court. The man on the phone didn't sound panicked. He didn't beg for help. He said simply, "I don't think she's with us anymore." That man was Alexander Town, 32 years old. When Fairfax County officers arrived at the home, Alexander greeted them at the door, calm, cooperative. He led them inside. There on the floor was his wife, Kim White, also 32. She had injuries to her upper body. Authorities later confirmed she had been strangled. The family behind the door. Just a few months earlier, Kim and Alexander had moved to Chantilly from California. A new state, a new start. Alexander was a military veteran. He'd served his country, and after leaving the service, he found work as an analyst for the Defense Health Agency. A stable career, a respected position. Kim was quieter. She loved being a mother. Most days, neighbors saw her walking with their little boy, a 3-year-old with soft curls and wide eyes. They were the kind of family you passed in the grocery store without a second thought. The kind you smiled at in traffic, but behind closed doors, something was wrong, something no one saw, or maybe something no one wanted to see. A neighborhood in disbelief. People on Bromall Court said there was never any trouble, no yelling, no late-night arguments, no police ever called to the home. One neighbor told Fox 5 DC, "They always waved, they always smiled." Another said, "I just saw them that morning. They looked happy." But happiness is sometimes just a mask. And silence? Silence can be a warning. The arrest. Alexander Town didn't run. He didn't deny what happened. He was taken into custody that night and charged with second-degree murder. There was no sign of forced entry, no indication of drugs or outside involvement. Just a man, a woman, and a little boy, all inside one house. Only 2 of them would leave that night. The child left behind. Their son, just 3 years old, was home when it happened. He wasn't hurt, not physically, but what he saw, what he heard, will follow him for the rest of his life. He is now staying with family, authorities confirmed. And while the legal system turns its wheels, he wakes up in a different house, without his mother, without his father, without the life he used to know. The court in the unknown. Town is currently being held without bond. His preliminary hearing is scheduled for July 11th. The charge, second-degree murder, carries a sentence of 5 to 40 years in Virginia. But the real sentence? The real punishment lives in the lives left behind, in the family grieving, in the boy growing up with a story he may never fully understand, and in a community that will never look at that house the same way again. A harder truth. Sometimes we look for monsters. We expect evil to wear a face we can recognize. But most of the time, it looks like someone you know, someone who shows up to work, someone who smiles at their neighbors, someone who holds their child's hand while crossing the street. Violence doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it waits, quietly, behind the walls we think are safe. Mental health, family, and asking for help. We don't know what happened inside that home in the hours before Kim White lost her life. We may never know, but we do know this. People carry weight they don't talk about. Trauma, depression, rage, fear, especially veterans, especially young parents, especially those who feel isolated. And too often we don't ask, or we ask once and accept the polite answer. I'm fine, but fine isn't always the truth. If you are struggling, in your mind, in your relationship, in your silence, Please talk to someone, a friend, a therapist, a stranger on the other end of a hotline. We lose too many people because asking for help still feels like weakness. But the real weakness is staying silent until something breaks. Share the stories that matter. Thank you for being here with the dark between us, for sitting in the discomfort, for letting the quiet speak. If you know a story that deserves to be told, a case in your town, a tragedy that was forgotten too soon, leave a comment, send a message. Help us bring light to the stories most people would rather ignore. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and never stop asking what's hidden in the dark between us.